Good day, everyone. Welcome to our chemistry class. Today we're going to talk about acids and bases. One can ask, what are acids and what are bases? Acid, most of them we have them at home. Some of them we eat them. And those that we eat, they have a sour taste. And a base, also we eat them, they have a bitter taste. So today we're going to talk about acids and bases. Now let's look at acids. What are acids? Acids is any hydrogen containing substance that is capable of donating a proton to another substance. So we have different kinds of acids that we know, that we see when we are at home. We have lemons. You know that when you eat lemons, they have a sour taste. Also, we use a vinegar. Most of us, we use it on our beetroots to give it a taste. So when we taste those beetroots, they have a sour taste. Those are our acids. And oranges, sometimes when you eat oranges, you will have a sour taste and they can give you a heartburn because they contain what we call an acid. So now we're going to look at our base. What is a base? A base is a molecule or an ion that is able to accept a hydrogen ion from an acid. We have different kinds of base that we use at home. Most of them, they are very slippery. So most of them, we use them to clean our houses, clean the dishes. We use bleaches for the stains. So those are our bases. They're very slippery and they have a bitter taste when you taste them. So now we're gonna look at different ways to test whether the solution that we are having is an acid or is a base. We have two ways of testing that, and we have what we call the litmus paper. What is a litmus paper? A litmus paper allows you to determine whether a solution is acidic or basic. So there are two types of litmus paper available that can be used to identify acids and bases. We have the red litmus paper and the blue litmus paper. Blue litmus paper turns red when the solution is acid, and the red litmus paper turns blue when the solution is basic. As you can see, our first solution, the blue litmus paper turned red, meaning the solution that we are having contains an acid. And the second one, we have the red litmus paper that then turned blue, meaning the solution, it has a base. It contains of a base solution. So now let's look at the second way to determine or test our solutions. We can use what we call the pH scale. What does the pH scale stand for? pH scale stands for proton potential hydrogen. pH stands for potential hydrogen. The pH scale is the most common and trusted ways to measure how acidic or basic a substance is. A pH measure can vary from 0 to 14. As you can see on the picture, it starts from 1 to 14. So our pH scale vary from 0 to 14, where 0 is the most acidic. So if you test your solution and the pH scale tells you that the solution is 0, it means that solution is very acidic. Whereas when you take your pH scale and you test it and it gives you the scale of 14, it means that solution is very basic. So when the pH scale tells you that it's 0, it means that solution is very acidic. And when the pH scales, when you test the solution, it says that it's 14, it means that solution is very basic. Now we're gonna look at neutral. What are neutral substances? Neutral substances are substances which are not acid or basic, meaning when we test them, the amount of hydrogen and hydrogen ions are the same. so we cannot know whether it's acid or bases. And we have different kinds examples of neutral substances that we know, and we see them in each and every day of our life. Like, for example, water is very neutral. It's not acid, it's not base. So sometimes people that have acid reflux, they tend to drink water to calm the acid down because it does not contain of a base or an acid. Also, we have milk. Milk also can help you when you have heartburn. The doctors will say that you must drink milk because the milk will reduce the acid in your body. So the milk is also neutral. It's not an acid, also is not a base. So those are the things, the substances that we call, they are very neutral. When you test them, they are not acidic, even if they, and also they are not basic. Those are our neutral substances. Now let's look at the difference between the two. Since we talk about acids and bases, let's look at an acid. What is an acid? Acid are those that have a sour taste. Like we have our citric acid, it's like lemon, it's very sour. And let's look at our base. What is base? Are those substances that have a bitter taste. So like baking soda, if you can taste baking soda, it has a bitter taste. Also, when we use our blue litmus paper, it turns red, meaning that the solution is acid. But when we take our blue litmus paper and when we take our red litmus paper and it turns blue, it means that solution is an base. So also let's look at an acid. The pH of the acid, it ranges from 1 to 7, whereas the pH scale of a base ranges from 7 to 14. So those are the two different those are the difference between an acid and a base. Now let's look at these examples. Let's do this. Which solution is an acid and which one is a base? So let's look at the two. So we can solve this by groups. Find someone you can pair with and come out with an answer. Which one is a base and which one is an acid? Because we can see that some different the blue litmus paper turn red and the red litmus paper turn blue on the other solution. So you have to tell me which one is an acid, which one is a base. And let's look at another one. Let's solve it together. Okay, I'm gonna read. Which of the solution is a characteristic of an acid? A pH greater than 7, yes or no, is an acid. Maybe. Let's look at the second one. Releases hydrogen ions when dissolved in water. It has a bitter taste. Donates hydrogen ions to base, which is true. But do you remember the characteristics of an acid is the one that is it releases hydrogen ions when dissolved in water too, and it donates hydrogen ions to bases. Okay, now let's look at the second question. Which is not a characteristic of a base? A pH greater than 7, yes, it has a greater the pH scale of a base ranges from 7 to 14. So that is its characteristics. It has a bitter taste. Yes, it has a bitter taste. And does it have a sour taste? No, that's not a characteristics of a base, because a base has a bitter taste, not a sour taste. Can be found in a lot of cleaners. Yes, most of the base are those ones that we use at home. Okay, this is the end of our class. Thank you and goodbye.